Absolute mayhem at the Target Center as the Wolves go toe-to-toe with the defending champs. I got the expert, Tyler Metcalf. He's going to help us break it all down, and it's all coming up next on the Locked On Wolves POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Wolves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up? What's up? Back in the lab, back at it. Another T-Wolves POSTCAST episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. You got myself, Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. That's the man, Tyler Metcalf. He's on X, at Team Metcalf11. And Tyler, before we jump into all the action, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, man. Wolves coming off that season sweep last night over the Jazz, feeling good as far as, wins go. But this team is just going through it when it comes to big name injuries. No Cat, we know that. Still no Rudy Gobert. He's missed 3 games now. And now, if that's not bad enough, no Naz Reid. He missed the second half last night with concussion-like symptoms. So no one really knew what to expect tonight. In fact, I think a lot of people were kind of gearing up, buckling up for a blowout. I mean, you never know what you're going to get, but this was one of, I know they lost here, and we'll get into it. But one of the games of the year, though, if you're just a fan of good basketball, one of the best games the Wolves have been a part of this year. Nuggets going a 14-3 run to end the first half. They score 70 heading into the locker room. Wolves fight back, though. Outscored Denver 29-17 in the third quarter, thanks to Anthony Edwards just putting the team on his back once again. In the end, though, the T-Wolves, despite just an A-plus effort, they fall short, 115-112. They fall to 47-22. They move to third place in the West now. We'll touch on that a little bit more here coming up. But, man, this turned out to be an absolute incredible, gutsy, gritty game, especially, again, compared to what we thought we were going to get on paper heading in. Kick us off here, Tyler. What were your biggest takeaways, maybe the A topics from this one? Where do you even start?
Just the fight and confidence in this team is very, very real. And going into this game, it was like, is this just one of those games where they sit everyone and just chalk it up as a schedule loss? Where, they're missing three of their centers. Their 3 centers. They're coming off of, or it's the second night of a back-to-back that was just in Utah. They landed at 3 a.m. this morning. They're going against Denver, who, everyone is basically everyone's favorite for to repeat as champions, if not Boston, and Jokic as MVP. And this is a game where they really could have easily won this. I mean, you look at just some of the numbers here, 7 missed free throws, 34% from 3, while Denver was at 52. That's kind of the story right there. And I know Jaden had a big night tonight, but outside of that, there wasn't any real outlier fluke performance by any of the role players on the Timberwolves. It was just a real team effort against a fully loaded and fully healthy Denver team. And it took every ounce of effort from Denver to pull off this win.
Yeah, man, if just 1 or 2 more of those buckets could have fallen, man, especially during that 3, 4, 5-minute mark, Wolves kept making stop after stop after stop. It was like a lid was on that rim, though. But again, like you said, give this team credit. They fought their butts off. They brought the defending champs down to the wire, again, missing so many big name key players on this roster. This team, they've been on the road for 2 weeks. They're playing the second half of a back-to-back with, again, 3 of their bigs and best players out of the lineup, and they brought this one down to the final second. So I guess what are the biggest positives, even in a loss? I know as much as it stings now, and I don't want to go too cliche on the bit here, but what did we just learn about this team as far as just their heart and their fight that they have?
Yeah, and the biggest kind of category that stands out to me is the rebounding differential. And Denver finished with 51. They out-rebounded the Wolves, but the Wolves are 46. It's a difference of 5. When your starting center is Kyle Anderson, your backup center is Luka Garza, the fact that that's only a 5 differential That should be embarrassing for the Nuggets, honestly. I was expecting that to be in the 15 range. I was expecting the Wolves to give up near 20 offensive rebounds tonight. It felt like it was going to be kind of a repeat of that Anthony Davis performance against the Lakers,
Oh
where he
man.
just dominated everything because there's just no size out there to deal with him. But just some of the defensive matchups that the Wolves were able to throw out there, they were able to kind of put Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels in spots where they were really able to consistently collapse from the weak side, disrupt stuff around the rim, and then that also kind of put them in position to secure a lot of those rebounds. 8 rebounds combined between those guys. The team on the total tonight had 10 steals, 7 blocks compared to 5 and 1 for the Nuggets. So that defensive playmaking, that high intensity, their ability to force just a ton of turnovers tonight, it was really, really impressive and just a really gutsy effort on the defensive end.
How in the world are we going to look back at that 6-game road trip and then what happened tonight and explain what and who Anthony Edwards has become and kind of evolved into? I mean, another 30-point performance tonight, the dunk of the season last night. Guys got 25 or more points in the second half 6 times this year. No, that didn't happen tonight, but just a crazy stat I had to pull out. That's second most in the NBA behind only De'Aaron Fox. Again, I know they lost tonight, but bro, the legend that is Anthony Edwards, the way he had the target center rocking in the third quarter during that comeback, put it into words best you can, I guess, after the last 7 games of what we just watched.
We're seeing a young star emerge into a worldwide superstar. I mean, he's taking over games on both ends of the floor. He's creating highlight plays, but then also scoring at volume and also rebounding and then taking on the toughest defensive matchup, creating for others. He's finding ways to impact the game all over the place. I know he kind of disappeared in the fourth quarter tonight, but that's because he had to do everything to even bring them back into the game in the third.
Right.
And they were blitzing every pick and roll he ran. They were doubling him every time he touched the ball. And he still had 38 and 8. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. And like these last couple highlight plays, the dunk against the Jazz, the block against the Pacers, he's always kind of done those highlight things where it's like, oh my God, the upside, the potential, what this guy could be, the athleticism, it's freakish. But now he's also combining that with elevating the play of everyone around him, of doing the little things on the court that he wasn't doing. And it's just that consistency. Any player in the NBA is capable of going off for a huge night for 25 plus on any night. The great ones are the ones who do it every single night, and he's doing it every single night now.
No unicorns on the court again, as we've gone over. No Cat, no Nasri, no Rudy. I'm trying to find some positives, and at least we're getting some good looks at what some Wolves small ball looks like if and when they need to, throw that rotation out anytime moving forward. What do you see from the smaller lineups, I guess, these last 2 nights now with no big men on the court, and any chance you think they could still be successful if they were to, kind of be forced to go that route in the future?
I think it's definitely proving to be a viable option, kind
It's
of
better than we thought, right? Yeah.
exactly, like a break glass in case of emergency type thing instead of a like, hey, it's second quarter, let's throw this out there for extended minutes. But what it allows them to do is be super versatile on the defensive end, be really aggressive in getting up into the ball handlers. And we saw that tonight with Nikhil's ability to really be a pest on ball. Kyle's hands digging from the weak side and on ball. Jaden's just insane. We know what he is as a defender. And then Anthony Edwards too. And then Mike Conley, who's, not the greatest defender, but he's incredibly smart and experienced with all of it. There's a reason they had 7 blocks and 10 steals tonight. It's because they're so active, they're so athletic, and they're really versatile in those lineups. So obviously having Cat, Nas, Rudy back is ideal. That's how this team is structured and built to play. But they just kind of continue to prove that if one guy goes down, they're going to adapt and they're going to figure out how to play to their strengths and kind of change their game plan from what they were doing just a week ago.
Yeah, no, well said. Box score scouting, I know doesn't always tell the whole story, but something to go off of here. Again, Ant 30, Conley 13, team best plus 12 in the plus minus. Jaden 26. I'm going to save him, put him on the shelf. We're going to talk about him in segment 2. 4 points. Luka Garza, you mentioned 11 points. Monte Morris with 8. TJ Warren with 6. I guess just final thought here as we close out segment 1, an opportunity to maybe shout out anyone else here for good or bad tonight.
I thought Monte Morris gave him some good minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the two guys that really stand out, rare rough shooting night for Nikhil, 0
Yeah.
for 4 from 3. Luka Garza, 2 of 8 from 3. When you look at that 2 of 8 from
Oh,
Luka, a lot of them were pretty wide open pick and pop looks, top of the key, right where Nas and Cat just feast against
yeah,
defenders in those
absolutely.
situations. So it's tough. I'm not trying to throw Luka under the bus here, because he was thrown into a role that he's not used to playing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's capable of making those shots, and he's probably kicking himself for missing them. But it's kind of hard to imagine that Cat and
Right.
or Nas in that situation that either or both of them are going 2 for 8.
And Jordan McLaughlin, usually always good for that one pick and pop
Yes.
3 coming off the bench. 0 for 1 tonight, unfortunately.
he had that
Again,
one
when
in
you
the
lose
corner.
by 3 in a game like this, you just start to replay all those over in your head. All right. Plenty more deep dive, including the Wolves bench play tonight. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to you by LinkedIn. When you start hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the job, right? Well, then LinkedIn Jobs is a no-brainer because LinkedIn Jobs has the tools you need to help find the right professionals for your team faster, and it's for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It's the only job board because they got the biggest network to choose from with more than 1 billion professionals. And that's what makes LinkedIn the best and only place to hire. LinkedIn is also going to give you access to professionals you just can't find anywhere else. And they do all that while also making the process easy and intuitive. It's so easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate match within just 24 hours. So it's time to join the 2.5 million small businesses that are already using LinkedIn for hiring. Try it today. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. LinkedIn, terms and conditions apply. All right, man. Jade McDaniels. It's been a roller coaster year. I mean, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Always gives you this, A plus all-star type defense every night, but the shooting been pretty non-existent. I mean, maybe that's even putting it politely at times. Pretty quiet for a while now. Was tonight the catalyst he needed in some ways to maybe get going offensively again? Or what'd you see from him tonight, I guess? What's your assessment of his play? Just overall, big picture the last few games.
And the defense has been phenomenal
Yeah.
every night. And we've known that for a couple years now, that every night we can basically count on him to be an awesome defender. And he hasn't been getting in that consistent foul trouble that we've seen so frequently from him. I know he had 5 tonight, but a couple of those came late in the game. He's been really good at staying out of foul trouble. It's the shot. And tonight and previous games too, he isn't really hesitating. He's still letting it fly. He's still being confident with it. And that's what you want to see. It's when guys start consistently passing up wide open looks. That's where it's like, oh, okay, this is a big issue. He's getting the yips. And it's like, okay, if there's an injury or some mechanical thing, those things can be corrected. But the mental aspect, that's where it always gets tricky. And if the confidence goes out the window, that's a little tougher to deal
Right.
with. Throughout this entire stretch, he's still shooting. He's still getting up a handful of attempts per game. His teammates are still driving and kicking out to him in the corner and finding him and not really hesitating on those kickouts. It really feels like a matter of if or when they fall, he's going to look awesome. And that they fell tonight, and he looked really good. This is his best game in a couple weeks now. I think he had that 2 or 3 game stretch where he was up in the 15 to 20 point range. Nice to see him get back to that. And all night, he was just really confident in getting to his spots in that kind of short mid-range or just letting it fly from 3, like that late 3 that he buried to cut the lead to 1 or 2. he just caught it, stepped into it, and dropped it. It was really smooth. It was decisive, and that's what most of his jumpers looked like tonight, and the results kind of bear fruit there.
Wolves have trailed by 15 or more and ended up winning by 10 or more 3 different times this year. That's tied for most in the league with Denver. Who else? Go figure. What does that characteristic say about a team, do you think? Like, obviously, we're talking about 2 of the best teams in the league for a reason, right? But what does that crazy stat tell us, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're used to that being reversed, but
We
it
are.
just
Yeah. Still feels weird. Yeah.
it just tells you the depth and the confidence, and just the maturity in this team. Where even in all these games where they should be out of it, they're not, and they know that they're more than capable of consistently fighting their way back into it. Um, they're going to be a really tough out. I know there have been a lot of skeptics about how real they are for the playoffs, but you're going to have to kill them. They're not going to roll over, and that type of kind of never say die attitude really carries over into the postseason.
I asked Jack this last night. I kind of want your 2 cents as well. I think it's especially pertinent after tonight's game. Give me one reason why you think the Wolves can beat this Denver Nuggets team in a 7-game series come playoff time now, and one reason why you'd obviously be really nervous.
And the Jokic is the one,
I mean,
and
yeah.
he's just the master key, and he's insane. It's that simple. I think they just match up really well across the board, and I don't think they're intimidated by the Nuggets at all. Every time they play them, they give them their best, whether they're undermanned or not. And 1 through 5, they have the shooting, the athleticism, to match up on both ends of the floor. So if they can defend like they have been all season, that stuff really carries over. There are going to be off shooting nights like there was tonight, but even if they just shoot their average percentage tonight, they're winning despite having over $100 million on the injury report.
How much different would you feel going from that 1 seed that the Wolves held on to for so long during this season to the 3 seed come playoff time, if that's how it shook out? Like, should we feel different about their chances at an NBA title if they do drop to the 3 seed? And I guess what are the things that would change your mindset when it comes to that topic the most?
Um, my biggest worry would honestly potentially landing a first round matchup with the Pelicans.
Yeah.
I think that's just a brutal matchup, and the Pelicans have been playing really well recently. So hopefully they kind of cement themselves in that 5 seed, and we don't have to worry about that. But that would honestly be my biggest worry. Other than that, I don't think it matters. I think the Warriors, the Kings, the Suns, the Lakers, they're good teams, and they'll obviously, give a good fight to the Timberwolves. But I think in a 7-game series, I don't see any reason why the Timberwolves shouldn't come away squeaky clean from that.
Yeah, well said. All right, stick around. Last segment coming up. We're going to preview that Cavs game and these 3 home games coming up. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Stitch Fix. Guys, one of the best cliches that always resonates with me the most is if you look good, you feel good. And I always feel my best when I use Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get your own personal stylist who understands your style, your size, most importantly, your budget. And the best part is they do all the shopping for you. That makes it, without a doubt, the easiest way to update your wardrobe closet this upcoming spring season. Personally, I'm into that laid back, kind of relaxed, casual look. I like the hoodies, the quarter zip ups, maybe a golf polo or 2. So my personal stylist helped me find some new trendy clothes that fit my look and feel perfectly, and help me update my closet without those long, excruciating trips to the mall. All you got to do, tell your stylist your size, style, and budget. They take care of the rest. And my favorite part here, there's no subscription required. You order a new box how you want it, when you want it. And if you don't like it, no problem. You send it back on the house. Free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. It's style that makes you feel as good as you look. Go get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. All right, we usually do a little Monte Morris watch, every episode. How's he adjusted, just bigger picture, not just tonight. I know he had a good game tonight, but just bigger picture. Obviously, he's a guy who's getting a lot of run now with all the injuries, especially now that he's back from that hamstring injury. How important of a piece, though, to the puzzle, big picture, has this guy kind of quickly become off the bench for this team?
And he's really important because, and the whole selling point with him on that trade was that he's Mike Conley light, and he kind of plays like that. Obviously, their size similarities have a lot to do with that. But once the shot hopefully comes around a little more consistently, that's where the real value comes. And even on these nights where whether he was hurt or the shot hasn't been there, I think Jordan McLaughlin's just ascendancy as a spot up shooter has really helped kind of it's allowed Finch to kind of toggle those two a little more consistently, where if Monte's shot isn't falling and he's not having that offensive impact that they want him to have, then okay, well, Jordan McLaughlin's good for one or two spot up threes a game now, which is a huge development. The fact that he's over 40% from three on the season is really kind of putting pressure, I think, on Morris in a good way, where it gives just more pieces to this kind of ever expanding rotation.
One concern, the biggest concern you have, and one positive, kind of one big good takeaway you didn't expect from this Wolves team over the last 4 or 5 games now without Karl Anthony Towns. What comes to your mind, top of your head, when you think about that?
Uh, the outside shooting consistency.
Yeah.
They have a lot of guys who can really get hot in a hurry and light it up from outside. But they never kind of seem to do it all together at a consistent rate. Whereas like tonight, Jaden went off and Nikhil disappeared. The other night, Jaden was nowhere to be found and Nikhil went off. So it's kind of finding everyone doing it together and doing it consistently, and not just having one guy shoot at a really high level, but having a couple guys shoot at an above average level, which would be ideal. But it's kind of been that way with this team all season.
How's the West looking right now? I mean, just top to bottom, like the last week or so. What's changed over the last 2 weeks? Whose stock is up? Whose stock is pointing down right now?
And Dallas has been playing a lot better recently.
Because they were struggling, right? They lost like 3-4 in a row about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah. Those like first 2 weeks after the All-Star break, their defensive rating was the worst in the league. Not good. So they're kind of starting to figure out their new pieces. Daniel Gafford is really kind of starting to make an impact there. Once PJ Washington starts shooting, they'll become even a tougher matchup. And then when you just have those kind of on-ball creators and scorers and Kyrie and Luka, they're always going to be tough, especially come playoff time. But they're slowly starting to figure out some of their defensive stuff. And on the flip side of that, the Suns are just kind of floundering and really struggling to find their identity.
Yeah, Jeff with the shout out. Suns went from 6th to 8th seed now over the last week or so. Interesting stuff. Going to be interesting to watch this all unfold over these last final 2-3 weeks now coming up before the playoffs. 2 more here for you before we close out. Close out with a little preview, I guess, of this Cleveland rematch. Remember, they went to OT just like 10 days or so ago. That final box score did not really do it justice as far as how close that game really was. But maybe just in a broader term, in a bigger lens, combine these next 3 home games in here as well. You got the Cavs, Warriors, and then Pistons. And then got to keep this in mind too. Well, where does Rudy and Nas fit into the equation and kind of mindset if you're Coach Finch for this homestand stretch as well?
Yeah, and I believe Donovan Mitchell will be out of that Cleveland game again. I think he just had like nasal surgery. And they'll be coming off of a game on Wednesday against the Miami Heat, which will be a big one for them because of their kind of playoff seeding and that Eastern Conference rivalry. So they should go 3-0 in this homestand. Golden State, they're going to be tough, especially because they're fighting for their lives, trying to climb out of that 9th seed I believe they're in right now. But they're not that good. They're not a great team, and we all know how bad the Pistons are, so that should be a blowout win. But this team has not the cleanest track record of always kind of demolishing the lesser talent. So it should be a 3-0 sweep at home, and going into that Denver game on the 29th with a little bit of juice, a little bit of momentum, and kind of looking for payback from tonight.
Last one here. This one comes from our guy, Sam Ekstrom, believe it or not, host of the Minnesota Basketball Party every Wednesday right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. The T-Wolves, Tyler, have 5 straight home losses against winning teams now. How concerned should we be?
I'm not, honestly. So I'm just looking at these losses. It was tonight against Denver. We're missing 3 of their top 6 guys.
Yep.
Then we had
I'm trying to pull it up.
That Clippers 89-88 loss. I mean, just an absurd score in 2024. Overtime loss to Sacramento. Overtime, they've struggled in overtime all season, and those games can just go either way. And then the Bucks, where they were just coming out of the All-Star break. So it's not a great thing to have happen, but overall, I'm not too concerned about it because a lot of these losses are just a couple shots go the other way, and we're talking about 5 straight home wins.
Yeah, it's so true, because when you hear that stat and think about that, oh my God, that's a heartbreaker. Hate to hear it. But when you take it game by game and dissect each one, you're totally right. Like, each one could have easily went the other way. None of those losses really left you with the feeling like of hopelessness or like they can't do it. They didn't get blown out in any of those. So definitely not what you want, for sure, especially when it comes to the wins and losses department. But I will say at closer inspection, I'm not too worried as well. All right, man. Great to see you. Well done, as always. Wolves lose a heartbreaker tonight versus the champs, 115-112, but they show some serious heart in a gutsy performance. 2 days of rest, followed by 3 straight home games. Next one, again, that's versus Cleveland this Friday night. Tip-off for that one, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. As always, huge shout-out to everyone that joined us in the stream. You guys are the absolute best. Rest assured, we'll be back each and every game, same time, same place, right here to break it all down. Quick reminder as well, got to go check out all of Tyler's work on X at Team Metcalf 11. Anything new? Haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. Anything new you should go check out or be on the lookout for?
Just the Canis Hoopus team continues to do awesome work over there at the site, and March Madness time. So if there are any college guys that go off and you're like, who in the world is this guy? Go over to NoCeilingsNBA.com. I almost guarantee you that we've covered them in some form or fashion.
Okay, I got to get my bracket in tonight, man. Clock's ticking down. Give me, no spoilers. If you don't want to, I get it. But can we hear your Final Four matchup real quick before we get out of here?
Oh boy, off the top.
Or how about the winner? How about the championship game?
This is boring, but I think UConn is by far the best team in the country right now. A couple sleepers.
Yeah,
I think Marquette could make a run.
Okay.
I liked Creighton as kind of a sleeper like a week ago, but they seem to be everyone's sleeper, so that's kind of. I don't.
Talk me off the ledge here. I watched this Big Ten championship round. Illinois, they got this kid Shannon, man. He knocked my socks off, man. I may have Illinois going a little bit further than maybe I should realistically. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and they're playing their best ball right now, and my concern with him is that if he's not getting 10 plus free throws a game,
sure,
what the offense can kind of fall apart. And they did this, I think, 2 years ago, where they went on a big run, won the Big Ten tournament. I think they got a 1 seed and then lost on their second game. So I'm just a little scarred by them. Big time inconsistency with their offense. But if things are clicking right now, it definitely could carry over.
Nebraska's got what, the Steph Curry of the tournament? Feast
So
or
much
famine?
Yes.
Are you buying it or are you selling it?
Selling.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Hey, guys, make sure you check out the entire crew on that Minnesota Basketball Party. Again, that's each and every Wednesday. Our guy, Sam Ekstrom, he's always hosting. Gophers legend Ron Johnson in the building. Carol Evans, Reggie Wilson, always bringing the heat. Plus, our guy, Ben Beacon, always ripping it up over on the Locked On Wolves podcast each and every day as well. That's going to do it for us tonight. He's Tyler Metcalf. I'm Luke Inman on Twitter at Luke_Spinman. Until next time, signing out.